We all hated the design for Sonic the Hedgehog in the upcoming movie, but could the redesign be actually worse? And Jim Carrey weighs in on his opinions on whether or not the fan should have a say in how Sonic looks. Hey everyone, this is Kevin T. Rodriguez, film critic of iCritic.net, and I'm a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fan. I've been very open about it. I mean, look, there's a Sonic right there, right up there. Hanging over, watching, that's from the Sonic Mania Ultimate Collection. You see Sonic playing in the background, and I am definitely looking forward to the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Now, I acknowledge up front, it will probably be terrible. And as a film critic, I always tell people, keep your fanboyism in check. Just because there's something you've wanted to see for a long time doesn't mean it's actually going to be good when you finally get it. And, well, I'm going to be getting a piece of that myself because, again, I really want to see the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie. However, the way what the character looked like, let's go over here real quick and look at it. When we finally saw Sonic, of course, I had to look at it and go like, yeah, it's probably gonna suck. It will probably suck very hardcore. However, because this design, we all know the story at this point, this design went over so poorly with audiences everywhere across the internet. We all universally hated whatever the heck this is. It doesn't look like a hedgehog. It doesn't even look like the cartoon character, to be honest. I don't know what this looks like, to be honest. It just looks like fur. It just looks like fur. I'm not even sure if real hedgehogs are furry. But yeah, whatever it is, this doesn't look right. And the studio is going to be changing the design. Now, you can see the headline right there. Uh-oh, this game-accurate Sonic movie redesign is even worse than the original. But before we actually get to that, let's look at Jim Carrey's response, because he isn't sure how he feels about the Sonic the Hedgehog redesign. And it says right here, months after Sonic the Hedgehog director announced the film will be pushed back for redesign, star Jim Carrey is speaking out about the fan backlash that triggered it. Quote, I don't know quite how I feel about the audience being in on the creation of it. We'll see what that entails, because sometimes you find that the collective consensus decides it wants something, and then when it gets it, I just wanted it, I didn't care about it, I just jumped on the bandwagon, Carrey said at the Television Critics Association presentation for his Showtime series Kidding, according to GameSpot. Ownership of anything is going out the window for all of us, he added. Now, of course, what he's talking about is the Sonic redesign. Well, of course, we're talking about that. And that is the fact that the trailer was released. The trailer that had this Sonic. And, well, we didn't like it. No one liked it. Now, I was going to see the movie even though the design was pretty bad. It's like, I was, of course, willing to wait and see it in action, but it didn't look right. It didn't look like Sonic. It didn't look like a cartoon character, which that's the thing. Sonic is such an iconic designed character and has been for years that you don't want to mess too much with it. Had they made like a live action Mickey Mouse movie and they try to make him look more like an actual mouse, it's not going to work because Mickey was meant to be a cartoon. Sonic was meant to be a cartoon. Sonic was meant to be colorful. Just looking at that picture, the blue's okay, I guess, but it's like, where's like the bright colors? Well, anyway, when Jeff Fowler, I believe that was the director's name, decided he wanted to redesign it, a lot of us cheered like, hey, that's good, you're listening to the fans. I believe, because here's the thing. I do agree with Jim Carrey's concern about the fans having input. I remember when a lot of fans, myself included, didn't like how Heath Ledger looked as the Joker in The Dark Knight. We thought that was going to suck. That ended up being quite cool. We were a little curious about how in Riverside, Veronica Lodge was going to be a Latino. Nothing against Latinos, but, we just had this image of what she looks like this whole time, and yet that turned out to be awesome. So just because you have also Alita, those big eyes in the previews and short periods, it's like, that doesn't look like that's going to work in a live action movie, and yet it worked for a movie, and it worked for the whole thing, and she actually looked more endearing the longer you looked at her. So there's nothing to say. Maybe this design would have grown on me once I got it into the movie. However, it was poorly received, and I think it shows a lot of courage on the studio's part to redesign the character and make it look the way the fans want. However, at least one fan thinks that might not be such a good idea, and he's made an Instagram post about what a cartoonish-looking Sonic could look like. Now, there's one edit, and yeah, that doesn't look too great. And however, here's the thing. When you compare it side by side, it still doesn't look as bad as the original. It looks bearable. What about the next one? yeah, that doesn't look too bad in my opinion. You know, there's gloves, it's furry. Yeah, no, that's definitely an improvement. Okay, so he still has the teeth, but the teeth don't look terrifying. See, here's the thing. It's the eyes. It's the eyes. Just look at how expressive those eyes are. And when you go side by side, yeah, no, like, see, the image on the right, that looks surprised or terrified. The one on the left, what does that look like? I don't know. There's the body proportion, the leg, and the shoes. Already like the shoes. Honestly, the shoes I could live with. If they had to make that, have the sneakers on there with the shoelaces, fine, whatever. That doesn't bother me too much. As for the back, oh yeah, major improvement. I mean, the quills are more like hair in the fan edit. So that's what the fan made it look like. And he says that he's not too sure about this. And here's the thing. I am going to sort of understand where he's coming from. Because what he did was he decided to make what a version of Sonic, a cartoon version of Sonic would look like in a live action movie. And this is what he came up with. And I do agree with him on one level. It doesn't look like it fits in a live action world. But aesthetically, it's much more easy on the eyes. It's so much more easier to look at that than the image on the left. So really, I think this little fan edit proves really one major thing. And that is that, well, actually two things. First of all, the cartoon Sonic does look better. But the other thing is that, hey, it looks a little weird in a live action world. Now, the one on the left looks better in the live action world, sort of, but is not very pleasing on the eyes. It just looks wrong on so many levels. So, what is the solution? Well, I think the solution should have been obvious, to be honest. I think the solution should have been to make an animated film. And I don't know what it is that studios have against anime, especially since most of their movies are animated anyway. They don't want to call Alita an animated film, even though it clearly is, with the exception of the humans. They don't want to call the new Lion King movie an animated film, even though it clearly is. Even when you're watching it, you know it's animation. And yeah, so they're putting a cartoon Sonic in a live action world. I mean, yeah, look, you can do it, but animation was just always going to be better. I don't know what it is with Hollywood and their fascination with turning cartoons into live action. I just don't know why they bothered. This looks kind of strange. But again, as for Jim Carrey's, yeah, no, sorry, Jim. That just looks bad. Now, I will give Carrey credit. Ever since this thing was announced, Carrey has always looked like he was going to be the best part of the movie. And even though he doesn't quite look like Dr. Robotnik, it looks like he's going to give a pretty good performance. That's why I was willing to give the movie the benefit of the doubt, because Sonic doesn't look very much like Sonic, in my opinion. But he kind of has that attitude, I guess. So, I mean, he has the rings. At least he's running fast. Robotnik doesn't really much look like Robotnik either, except at the tail end of the trailer. And he looked pretty good in it. So, that's why I was willing to give it, like, a shot. However, here's the thing. I will still take this Sonic over this Sonic, even though this doesn't quite look right for a live action film. You know, my opinion, they should have just made a cartoon. But hey, I would rather have something look aesthetically pleasing and a little out of place than something that looks a little in place, but horribly out of character. I mean, geez, look at that. I mean, just the teeth look better on the fan edit, and the big eyes goes a long way. Like, that's like an expressive character right there. The character on the left, that just doesn't look right whatsoever. So anyway, that's just what I want to talk about. By the way, this is not what the new Sonic's going to look like. At least we don't know if that's going to be the case. I mean, who knows? He might actually be onto something. We don't know. However, this is what he thinks the character design could, in theory, look like. We're still going to have to wait for the new Sonic design, and I will, of course, talk about it when we see it, and we can compare it side by side. However, I think that's a step in the right direction, personally. Now, what do you folks think? Do you think this is a step in the right direction, or no, you actually think you would rather stick with the realistic version of Sonic? I would love to know. So, comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy my videos, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, of course, but even as little as $1 a month goes a long way to helping the channel run smoothly, and you get access to my Patreon's exclusive blog. And as always, blame responsibly. Have a good one.